Olympic hockey is right around the corner. It's already started, technically, but we have got some stuff to preview, and maybe this stuff will make us smile. Who knows? Because if you just watched our most recent episode talking about the Devils with myself, James Burley, and my partner, Dan Rebane, you'll know that we're not in the greatest of spirits right now with the New Jersey Devils, but Puck on the Parkway talks about more than just that. We talk hockey. The U.S. will be looking for their first gold medal in 46 years, I believe
Since
it is.
that team on your hat right there.
That's correct. And if you watched the recent documentary about the
I still
U.S.
need to
Olympic hockey
watch
team from
that.
the 80s, I still need to watch it too. I'm hearing great things about it.
Hmm.
This U.S. team is exciting, but we're going to look at just about everything that the Olympics has to offer. We're going to jump right into it. Um, let's talk about the seven Devils that are going to be representing their nations at the Olympics.
Yeah.
Would have been eight if not for Andre Palat's trade just a week ago. Nico Hischier, Jonas Siegenthaler, and Timo Meyer holding down the fort for the Swiss. Jacob Markstrom and Jesper Bratt will be representing the Swedes. Simone Nemitz, the 2022 second overall pick, will be representing Slovakia. And then the star man, Jack Hughes, will be with the USA despite not playing in the last couple games for the Devils, still nursing that lower body injury as well as the hand injury that he's been fighting through since November. Um, it's an exciting crop of players,
Yeah.
and if not for Andre Palat's trade, he would be number 8. He'll be with the Czechs, and I think it's a good opportunity for these guys to maybe get their groove back ahead of the final stretch of the season for the Devils. We talked about that on our most recent episode.
Yeah.
But the opportunity for these guys to represent their countries in the Olympics, it only as far back as 2014 would that have been something that they could have imagined. But since then, there's been no NHL players at the Olympics. They're bringing them back. It's going to be very exciting, and the opportunity of a lifetime for these guys, Dan.
Yeah, and hey, there's one returning Olympian out of these seven. You want to guess who it is?
One returning Olympian. Is it Nemitz? Did he play in the previous Olympics?
That's correct. Him
I
and
didn't remember that.
Yuri Slafkovsky. Remember Yuri Slafkovsky leading the whole Olympics in scoring in 2022. So yeah, Nemec is back for his second Olympics, which they lost. Who did they lose to? Or
The
no, they won
Slovaks?
bronze, didn't they? Didn't they win it? Didn't they win a medal?
Oh, I don't even know that.
I feel like I remember them winning a medal.
They
I
were,
think
yeah,
that
they won bronze.
yeah, they won bronze. So I mean, NHLers are going to be at this tournament, so it's going to be a bit harder for a country like Slovakia to win a medal. But yeah, shout out to all 70 of these guys. Um, I know Jack Hughes has been dying to play at a tournament like this. He got his first taste at it last year with the Four Nations, but the Olympics are the Olympics, man. I mean, I'm wearing the 2010 jersey right here, and obviously we lost in overtime to Canada, but that was one of my, you know, earliest memories watching USA hockey and being a good team. And if one bounce goes the right way, I mean, US wins gold in 2010. So, as you said, it's been since 1980 since the US has won a gold medal at the Olympics. They won World Championship gold last year, first time in 92 years. So, it's going to be interesting to see if they can keep that success going. But congratulations to all 70 of these guys. It means a lot to, put on your country's colors and represent them at the Olympics. So it's going to be a really fun tournament. First time since 2014 that the NHL is back at the Olympics.
And you mentioned 2022. Just a quick shout out. Finland were the gold medal winners.
Hmm.
Harry Pessinen was a gold medalist. If you remember him from 2012-13, he played 4 games, I believe, for the New
Yes.
Jersey Devils. Devils legend Harry Pessinen. So shout out to him. Spent one season with the
And
New
guess
Jersey
who was
Devils.
on that Russia team?
Ilya Kovalchuk.
Arseny Griciuk.
Oh, that's right. Oh, and Gritsuk. Okay, well, I was trying to go nostalgic with it. A little different. Um, and then of course Russia. You know what's a stat that's crazy?
Mm.
Russia has never won the Olympic gold in hockey. So the Soviet Union
Oh yeah,
have,
yeah. I was about to say
the
yeah,
Russian Olympic Committee has, and
yeah,
the Olympic athletes from Russia have, but never the country Russia. Isn't that
yeah.
crazy?
Ovechkin, Malkin, not Olympic gold medalists, which is kind of, crazy to think about. You
Mhm.
you would think they would have been on that triple gold list
I
with
mean,
all those other Soviets, but yeah.
2014, I mean, when they hosted was the real opportunity, but that
US
tournament was
US
crazy.
bounced them.
I mean, I think it was it the US that bounced them because I think
Yeah, in
that
the
was
shootout.
I think that was a group game
No, I thought that was
actually.
the quarters.
No, the US played the Czechs in the quarters, I thought. Well, actually, you know what? I'm not even entirely sure because it's been so long that I haven't had to think about this in a way, but let's let's talk about the groups that are in this tournament.
Yeah.
Um, First group, Group A, the Czechs, France, Switzerland,
That's
and
yeah.
Canada.
That's your group of death.
It's the sneakiest tough group, and I feel bad for France because if they were in a group that had the likes of Denmark and Latvia or Italy, they'd have a real chance at like getting a decent matchup for the playoff. The thing is, no team gets eliminated after the group phase.
Yeah.
The Each group winner, there's three groups, goes to a bye to the quarterfinals, and the best second place finisher in each of the three groups goes as the fourth team that gets a bye to the quarterfinals. The remaining eight teams
Yep.
all have to play a playoff that get ranked based on where they finished on points.
Yep.
So, I mean, you look at Group A, the immediate favorite in the tournament is Canada, as always. They are the best team in this tournament. They are the most well-rounded team in every position but the goaltending position. But as we saw in the Four Nations, it probably won't be a problem because if it's Jordan
Oh,
Binnington, he'll stand on his head. It,
we'll see.
they did not for a second look like goaltending was going to be an issue for them at the Four Nations. The team in front of whoever's going to be in goal is going to be so good. But then we got our three friends playing for the Swiss. We were talking before we hit record, Dan. I thought it was going to be penciled in that our old friend Akira Schmid was going to be the starting goaltender, but
Nope.
Leonardo Giannoni continues to
Janoni
be the force in goal at the age of
at
38,
38.
National League
Oh man.
veteran Giannoni, who was the MVP at the previous World Championships of 2025.
Yep.
He's going to be the starter, even though he's not a seasoned NHLer like the 25-year-old Akira Schmid is at this point.
Yeah, and I don't know how long it's been, but he's been Switzerland's starting goalie at the national team level for it feels like a decade plus. And if you were watching the World Championships last year, like us sickos did with the U.S. making that run, you heard Leonardo Giannoni's name a lot because he was the tournament MVP. And heading into that overtime, he kept it at 0-0. The score was 0-0 going into overtime, and it took for Tage Thompson, putting the puck directly in the upper left corner, just past the screen Giannoni to give the U.S. gold. But yeah, Giannoni, 38 years old, starting goalkeeper for or starting goaltender for Switzerland. My guess is that Schmidt is the backup, and he'll get that crack if Giannoni's not playing up to snuff. But yeah, 38-year-old goaltender starting it for the Swiss, and it's going to be an interesting group because we talked about they're with Canada, Czechia, and France, but I think it's about seeding for that playoff for Switzerland. If they can, get any points out of that Canada game, I think they're setting themselves up for second place in this group.
Well, even if they don't get points out of a game against Canada, if they can take care of business against the Czechs and the French, they're in a good position where they could maybe finish as the strongest second place team and get a
Hmm.
bye into the quarterfinal.
Exactly.
Because if you
Yeah.
look at the other groups, it's going to be tough for teams to stick out as the second best team. Of course, Czechia, we mentioned Andre Palat, who will be there. They're really strong in goal. Lucas Dostal, Karel Vejmelka, Dan
Yeah.
Vladar, three seasoned NHLers. On defense, they're a little bit thinner, but they've got some names: Radko Gudas, Philip Ronek, David Spacek, and then they've got former NHLers in Jan Ruda, Mikhail Kempny, and then in the forward core, they're a little bit stronger, I would say. Radek Faksa, Tomas Hertel, David Kampf, Marty Necas, Palat, of course, David Pastrnak, and another old friend in Pavel Zaka. The Czechs will be a tough test for Switzerland. I think they're going to fight it out for second place. I think the Czechs maybe have a deeper team, but
And
at the
remember,
top,
they won Worlds 2 years ago.
yes, this
So
is true.
yes.
Yeah, so um, Switzerland, while they went to the final of the Worlds last year, the
Back to
year
back
before that,
years.
Czech Republic, now Czechia, of course, are a force within European hockey. And then France, they've got, I believe, two NHLers in the roster, and then a former one in Pierre-Edouard Bellemare. But they've got Alexandre Texier, as well as the goaltender Antoine Keller, who I believe is under rights with the Washington Capitals and is not actually a full
He's
NHLer yet.
in.
And another old friend on the blue line in Johan Ovitu, a former New
Oh,
Jersey
there we
Devil.
go. Yeah,
So they are
man, he's
favorites to
kicking.
finish last in that group, obviously. But then you can't talk about the Olympics without talking about Canada. The goaltending situation is going to get a lot of discussion. Binnington, Kemper, Thompson. It's probably going to be Binnington. Kemper's had a great season. Thompson has had a great season as well.
Didn't
Binner,
Thompson just get injured too?
Thompson. I believe that he was the late addition to the team. I thought. Did they replace Thompson?
No, I think he like got hurt, but I don't know if he got replaced. I heard something about
Interesting.
another goalie getting injured. So, but yes, Bennington's gonna be the starter. But we have to remember, up until that final, Bennington was awful, awful in the Four Nations. So, I mean, if you're saying that Canada gets to the gold medal game, he could have the game of his life again. But what's to say that they get to the quarterfinals and they play, a Czech, they play a Switzerland, and Jordan Binnington has one of those stinkers that he's had all season long. I think I think it was since the turn of the calendar, he has one win. He's not been playing good. He's probably been one of the worst goaltenders in the league this year. So I mean, if he has one bad game to start the Olympics, they could easily go to a Logan Thompson if he's still healthy, or Darcy Kemper. So goaltending is their biggest question mark. And does it come back to bite them that they don't have a Martin Brodeur anymore? They don't have a Marc Andre Fleury. They don't have a Luongo.
Luongo.
Like, just thinking about Canada without one of the best goaltenders in the world is kind of crazy to me. So
Yeah, I mean
sure,
we
sure they have a great superstar. They have superstars all over that forward core. They have a really really good defensive core, but goaltending that could be the difference.
well we talked about that as the potential difference when we spoke about the Four Nations last year.
Yeah,
And in the early games, it might have been a bit of a struggle, but he showed up in that final and was impenetrable. He was unbelievable. And Binnington, I mean, and you have to look no further than the guys in front of him. They're the favorite for a reason. Um, just the defense: Doughty, Harley, Makar, Morrissey, Pareko, Sanheim, Theodore, Taves. You're gonna have to scratch two of those guys. That's insane. And then you look at the forward core, and this is without Connor Bedard too. Sam Bennett, Celebrini, Crosby, Hagel, Horvat, Seth Jarvis, Nathan McKinnon, who's got 40 goals already, Brad Marchand, Mitch Marner, Connor McDavid, Sam Reinhart, Mark Stone, who can, fill in the corners and be a gritty guy in the bottom six, which is not something that the Canada national team has always had at these Olympics. Then Nick Suzuki and Tom Wilson. This is the best team in the tournament by far.
we'll get to it, but
You
they
can't.
based off of what they are the reigning Four Nations champions, and you have to give them that they are the favorites based on odds as well to come out of this tournament with another gold medal. And they are Canada. They still have that aura to them at the senior national team level, right? Maybe not right now with the World Juniors where they haven't been able to grab gold or anything. The past three they've been eliminated by the Czech Republic, so they don't have the aura down there. But still, they are Canada when it comes to national team hockey, where they have Connor McDavid, they have Nathan McKinnon, they have Cale Makar, they have the best players in the world. But it is going to come down to that goaltending. And should we expect Jordan Binnington to be what he was in that gold medal game? I don't think so. You have to go off of what he's putting on paper right now, and if he does become that again, you just got to tip your cap at that point.
When we saw it in 2019 from him, not the best goaltender throughout the season, not the most popular player across
That's
the league.
6 years ago.
it was 6 years ago, but the Four Nations was just 1 year ago.
And that was only one game.
But it only needs to be. I'm saying he's a big game goaltender. He
But
he
we're
shows
sa-
up when it
but
matters
again,
most.
what if they don't get to that big game? What if
They may
he
not.
cost? What if
They
he
may not.
cost them? That's all
They
I'm
may
saying,
not.
right?
They're too good to trip up in this group though.
Oh,
With
I
Czechia,
mean,
France, Switzerland, like
yeah,
they don't have to play a Finland or a Sweden until the knockout rounds. Like they will get through this group with 3 wins, in my opinion.
they
And
should get a
and
bye.
that means they only need to win 2 games after that to get to the final. And they'll likely have a pretty good draw in that as well. So we'll get to Group B now. Finland, Italy, the hosts, Slovakia,
Hmm.
and Sweden. Italy, I feel bad that they had to get paired with these 3 teams.
Yeah.
But let's face it, whatever group Italy was going to be in, they were going to finish last. We'll start with the Italians. Let's see if we recognize a single name on this roster. Damian Clara is signed to the Anaheim Ducks, the goaltender. He's the only player with any affiliation to an NHL team. The rest of these guys playing in Europe. It's an older
So,
team too. It's
so
the
the
average age is almost 30.
so the thing with Italy and some of these host nation teams is they're able to get like dual nationals, but
Yes.
they when they recruit them, they have to come over to Italy for I believe it's 2 years and play in in Italy to get that citizenship. So you're gonna see some Canadian, Italian guys on this team. Um,
Some
so
American too.
like you see Alex Patan, I think his brother is Nick Patan, who was once a really good prospect in the NHL. So it's gonna be interesting. Could they get a win? I'm hoping they get one win. It would be really cool to see them win at the Olympics. We already saw the women beat France. Um, I believe it was 2 days ago in the opening game of the Olympics for them, and they had a good crowd. I think the Italians are going to come out for their team, and if they get a win, maybe get into overtime against another team. I mean, maybe this is the tournament where it kind of sparks Italian love for hockey, and in the next 8 years or whatever decade, you see a couple of pure Italian born players coming from Italy and are being drafted like we've seen with Slovakia in recent years.
Well, I appreciate the sentiment, especially as an Italian American. But who are they going to beat, Dan?
No,
They're not better than Slovakia, and they have
I
no shot against Finland or Sweden.
I mean we'll say this about the Sweden and Finland. They are very injured, right? And I'm not saying that they're gonna go and beat Finland or Sweden, right? But if there was a time to beat one of those teams, it would be now. Like Barkov's not playing for Finland, and still Finland's a really good team without Barkov, but without their best player, could maybe Italy, find a way to win a 2-1 game in overtime? Possibly. It's the Olympics, right? One game, anything can happen. So sure, we are expecting them to lose all 3 games, but it would be very nice to see them win one.
Well, let's talk about Slovakia then, because they're the third best team in this group. Um, some former NHLers and a lot of
Yeah.
current ones as well.
Yep.
It's going to be interesting to see who they go with in goal because the only NHL ready goaltender they have is Sam Levi, who plays for the Minnesota Wild. Of course, he doesn't see much time for the Wild. He's an AHLer. And then they have Adam Gajan, who is on the Blackhawks radar.
Well,
Um,
we know who's starting. It's the guy that's playing in Czechia.
it's Stanislav Skorvanek. It almost sounds like Thomas Vanek, but not quite. 1996 born goaltender, not NHL affiliated. We'll see how well he does. Eric Cernak on the defense, Martin Verheervary, who's on the Capitals, and then of course our boy Shimon Nemitz.
Yep.
He's going to have to be a game changer on this blue line for Slovakia to have a good tournament.
Yeah.
And then you look at the forward core, another old friend currently playing overseas is Tomasz Tatar, Slavkovsky, of course, Martin Popisil, Kuliar, who is under contract, or actually not under contract, but was drafted by the Florida Panthers, Pavel Regenda, who is in the Shark system, and Dalibor Dvorsky, who is signed
He's really
by
good.
the St. Louis Blues. And he could be a sleeper pick as one of the better young players in this tournament, 2005 born forward. And then a few other guys who have played in and around the NHL but aren't currently. Adam Liska comes to mind on that list. This team should very well find themselves in a position to finish third in this group. with at least one win over Italy. Maybe they can sneak into overtime against Finland or Sweden, but the real juggernauts in this group are those two teams. Let's
Yeah.
start with the Finns because we got a couple Devils to talk about on Sweden. In goal, they're strong. Korpisalo, Lankinen, Saros. Saros is, probably the favorite to start. Lankinen, I thought, has been good as a spot backup when Thatcher Demko's been injured for the Canucks.
Yeah.
Their blue line is quite good. Heiskanen, who missed the Four Nations.
Yep.
Yoki
That's a big
Harju,
return. Yeah.
Esa Lindell, Mantipalo, Mikkola, Olli Mata, Erasmus Ristolainen, and then former NHLer Mikko Lehtinen as well on the blue line. And then the forward core, big loss in no Sasha Barkov, but Sebastian Aho, Joel Armia, Mikhail Granlund, our old friend Eric Halla, Rupa Hintz, our old friend, I say friend because, Capo Caco, Oliver Kapanen, Jo Kiviranta, Arturi Lehkonen, who's been on fire for the Avalanche, Anton Lindell, who is a two-time Stanley Cup champion, Eetu Luostarinen, Mikko Rantanen, Teuvo Teravainen, Eli Tolvanen. That is a very, very, I won't say the ceiling is so high, but the floor for this forward
That's a
crew
very good team.
is so good. They're going to bang four lines
And
throughout
I
this
think
tournament.
I think people might forget, but this team was very injured last year heading into Four Nations. I
Yes.
mean, we talk about, Heiskanen not being there. Like that's potentially the best player on the team. And when you don't have your best defender, it's very hard. And we saw them, be able to kind of grind games out. And obviously, I believe they finish fourth or was that Sweden? But they were able to get certain games, they were able to keep games close even without some of their best players on it. So um, now back fully healthy, other than Barkov, I mean they should easily push for the first spot in this group. But obviously they have to go through their old nemesis and rival in Sweden.
And let's talk about Sweden because they are a juggernaut. Goaltenders, they've got a couple of Minnesota Wilds and then one New Jersey Devil and Jacob Markstrom. Of course, the Wild goaltenders, Gustafsson and Wallstedt. They could go back and forth because both of them have been great for the Wild this year, but Gustafsson will probably be the starter. I think Gustafsson is underrated in the scope of the NHL.
It still might be Markstrom. To be
It could
honest.
be Markstrom, although
we know
I think
how
that
we know how national teams do it, man.
I
They always have a hierarchy. So
I think it would be a mistake.
I think Markstrom gets the first game.
As someone who's watched a lot of Markstrom,
Hey, yeah,
he's
we
been
know.
better later in the season, but I'll leave it at that. On defense, Rasmus Anderson, Philip Broberg, Rasmus Dahlin, Oliver Ekman Larsson, Gustav Forsling, Victor Hedman, Eric Carlson, and Hampus Lindholm. It's such a good mix of guys who have been around the block,
Yep.
former Norris winners, and then great young players who are like I wouldn't even say are cutting their teeth, are bona fide stars in Broberg, Dahlin, Forsling, and Anderson, who are all in their early to late 20s.
Yeah.
It's a great mix of players on this blue line. Then we get to the forwards. Our buddy Jesper Bratt, Joel Eriksson Ek, Philip Forsberg, Filthy, Pontus Holmberg, old friend Marcus Johansson, Adrian Juice Kempe, Gabe Landeskog, Elias Lindholm, Willie Nylander, Elias Pettersson, almost the devil Ricard Raquel, Lucas Raymond, Alexander Wedberg, and some guy named Micah Zibanich. I don't know who that guy is. He probably doesn't score goals or anything.
And the
like
biggest
that.
thing for them is Landeskog's going to be there. He
Yep.
hasn't played a lot recently with Colorado, but he was skating before the break, and he's set to go. They've cleared him to go over there, so that's a big thing for Sweden.
And I mean, another veteran presence who does the intangibles on both sides of the ice. Yeah, he's going to be a big factor, and the Sweden team is loaded, just absolutely loaded. I cannot wait for Sweden Finland in the group stage is a treat because there's
Yeah.
no guarantee that these two teams meet in the knockouts. But the fact
Yeah.
that they're grouped together, huge rivalry, probably honestly like it's as big a rivalry in hockey as US Canada.
Yeah, the European version of Canada US. So
Yeah, and this will be a fun one. I'm gonna pick Sweden to top the group, but I do think Finland are probably just as good.
I think I'm going with Finland.
Yeah, and there you go. So that brings us to Group C: Denmark, Germany, Latvia, and the United States. It's a friendly draw for this
Very
U.S. team.
very friendly. I mean, they couldn't ask for an easier group. If we're being completely honest with ourselves, we couldn't ask for an easier group unless we got a France or an Italy in there. But to not get, any of the other big three in there, to not get like a Slovakia in there, I mean, that was huge. That was huge for the draw.
Well, let's look at the Denmark team. In goal, Frederick Anderson, who has owned the Devils for a number of years
Well,
now as the
good thing
Carolina
we're
Hurricanes
wearing we're
goaltender,
good thing we're wearing blue at the
and
tournament.
not red. Yeah, that's true. Frederick Gichau and Mad Sogard, who is under contract with the Ottawa Senators. Across the D, not a lot of recognizable names other than Nick Jensen, who
Hmm.
was a former NHLer, Philip Bruggezer, Jesper Abo, Anders Koch, Matthias Lassen, Marcus Lauridsen, and his brother Oliver Lauridsen. And
There
then
you
on the
go.
forward core, some more recognizable names for NHL fans: Mikael Agard, Matthias Bauhansen, Oliver Bjorkstrand, who is a dual nat US player, Joachim Blichfield, Nikolai Ehlers, Lars Eller, Oscar Molgard, Nick Olesen, Martin Paulson, Patrick Russell, Jonas Rondbjerg, who is under contract with the Vegas Golden Knights, Frederick Storm, Alexander True, and Christian Weisse.
I
I'm
just want to give
hoping
you a
I'm pronouncing
round.
those right.
I just want to give you a round of applause for saying all those names because
I'm
there is
hoping I'm
no
pronouncing a
way.
lot of them correctly. I don't know. Patrick Russell, I feel like I got right for sure.
Yeah.
But other than other than that one, this is the oldest team we've looked at so far. And a lot of those 1989, 88 birthdays in the forward core doing some of the heavy lifting there. But for a team that doesn't have a lot of NHL influence, they're strong, and I think could be in good position to. I think second place is going to be a great fight. I think the Germans are probably the favorite to take second.
Yeah,
So let's look at
Germany's
the German
good.
team. In goal, it's going to be Philipp Grubauer. Um, Across the blue line, Moritz Seider is the guy.
Yep.
And then the forwards, they've got a little bit more oomph in, of course, Leon Draisaitl, JJ Paterka, Lucas Reichel, Tobias Reeder, Josh Szymanski. Tobias Reeder's not in the NHL anymore. Wojtek Stachowiak, which is a Polish name, Wojtek Stachowiak, but he's playing with the Tampa Bay Lightning. Nico Sturm, and of course, Tim Stutzla.
Yeah.
This is a strong team. They should finish second in this group, Dan.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you just look at that forward core. I mean, Germany this past decade has kind of surged themselves into World Juniors category where they've had some really good World Juniors team, and now they're starting to produce these NHL talents like a Tim Stützle, JJ Peterka. I mean, we've known about Leon Draisaitl for the longest time, and he's going to be the main guy on that team. But then you look at on the back end, you got Mort Sider. So like they have superstars on this team, and not every team can say that they have a handful of superstars on their team. So you know Germany should definitely be second in the group, and they might test the U.S. They'll give the U.S. a test where it could be close heading into the third period, and the U.S. needs to come out with a strong effort. But I like this German team, and I think they could really push into the knockout stage.
And a similar strength roster is Latvia, although they don't have a Stutzla or Draisaitl in their forward core. They're strongest in goal. It's going to be between Elvis Merzlikins and Artur Shilovs to start.
Yep.
Two NHL regulars with
Yep.
the Blue Jackets and Penguins, respectively. On the blue line, they're pretty thin. Uvis Balinskis, the Florida Panthers blue liner, is probably their best guy back there.
Hmm.
And then the forwards, they've got again a higher floor, but not as big of a ceiling as the Germans have. Teddy Blugers, Zemius Gergensons, Henri Ravinskis, Tramakis, and Sandis Vilmanis. These are all guys who haven't really broken through, except for in the case of Blugers and Gergensons. They've
Yeah.
also got Martin Zierkals, who is unsigned prospect for the Golden Knights. Again, this is a team that's got some talent in it, but do they have the top end talent that Germany has? No, I think they're going to give Germany the best fight for second place. Denmark will be in the conversation. But for me, it's all about the U.S. in this group, and for obvious reasons. Connor Hellebuck will start in goal. Ottinger and Swayman will be the backups.
Yep.
Brock Faber, Noah Hannafin, Quinn Hughes is going to be playing. Jackson Lacombe steps in. Charlie McAvoy, Jake Sanderson, Jacob Slavin, and Zach Wierenski. Is that a better decor than the Canadians?
I think overall, yes. I think when you have a guy like a Jacob Slavin on your team, I don't think Canada has a Jacob Slavin on their team, and obviously they boast, some of these offensive defensemen that they have over in Canada, like a Cale Makar, a Thomas Harley, Drew Doughty, Josh Morrissey. But is Colton Parayko the Jacob Slavin? No, he is not. He's not Jacob Slavin. Shea Theodore is good too. Devon Taves. These are all really good to great players. But when you have a shutdown D man like a Jacob Slavin, then you have, a Quinn Hughes and Zach Werenski, two of the best. I think two of the top three defensemen in the world right now. Right, if we're thinking of Norris Trophy winners, you got Cale Makar, and then I think it's Quinn Hughes and Zach Werenski. I think Zach Werenski might be the leader heading into this Olympic break. I think he's been playing that good. And then you have Charlie McAvoy, who we saw what he did in Game 1 against Canada in the Four Nations before he got injured. Major injury. I don't think he played the rest of the season after that. And Jake Sanderson. Jake Sanderson might be an extra for this team.
That's
Now
crazy.
with Seth Jones going down injured, I think he steps in. But you look at like a Jackson Lacombe, who people have been talking about snubs where it's Lane Hudson not making this team. I think Jackson Lacombe right now is a better overall defenseman than Lane Hudson or an Adam Fox. Well, Adam Fox is still injured, I believe, at this point, so I don't think he would have made this team. But Jackson Lacombe, if you saw him play in the Worlds, I mean, that's where I really saw what type of player he is. And man, he's really good, and he's going to be your extra. He this D court is the best in the world right now, overall. Now, Canada still has Cale Makar, the best defenseman in the world, but you go body for body on that D court. I think the U.S. takes it.
And I mean, Quinn Hughes is right behind Makar in terms of best defenseman in the
Yeah.
world. Brock Faber and Quinn Hughes play together for the Wild. We'll see what Mike Sullivan wants to do with the pairings. Keeping their chemistry alive might be
Well,
very,
I
very powerful.
believe. Hold on. Let me see. I feel like Quinn Hughes and McAvoy have played together before
Yeah,
on lines.
that
So
on paper, that's the top pairing because McAvoy
yeah.
is so good. But if you want to go for some chemistry purposes, Faber and Quinn Hughes, that's the top pairing in Minnesota right now. So you
Yeah.
can keep those two together. The fact that they're going to have to scratch two of those guys is absurd.
Just like
And
Canada.
yeah, and
Like
we'll see which two it is because it'd be foolish to try to pick out now.
my guess is Hannafin and Lacombe. I think those are probably the two extra guys.
And I think that's pretty fair. Going to the forwards, Matt Boldy, Kyle Connor, Jack Eichel, Jake Gensel, our star man Jack Hughes, Clayton
Mhm.
Keller, Dylan Larkin, Austin Matthews, JT Miller. All right. Brock Nelson, Tage Thompson, Brady Kachuk, Matty Kachuk, and Vinny Trocheck, and coached by Mike Sullivan. We'll see how the pairings end up looking. Jack Hughes was used mostly as a second line winger
Yeah.
in the Four Nations. I imagine he'll be used in a similar role, maybe on the third line, just the way his season's gone currently, and we'll see what
Hmm.
his fitness looks like.
Yeah.
Not as good on the top end as Canada in this forward core for
No.
sure,
Yeah.
but they've got scoring throughout this roster, and any team will be frightened of them. This team will
Yeah.
absolutely win Group C, and then we'll see who how it shakes out, who they'll get in the
Well, we
knockouts.
skipped the
But
goaltend. We skipped goaltending, by the way.
did I skip goaltending? I didn't go
Yeah,
into the
we
goaltenders.
did
Well,
skip
I said
goaltending.
Hellebuck is going to start, and we know that
Yes.
we know that much. Ottinger and Swayman will be the support. Either Ottinger or Swayman would likely start for Team Canada. I would say Ottinger for
Oh,
sure.
easily.
Swayman would be maybe more of a discussion, but I think still would.
I think all three of those guys would start for Canada.
Yeah,
No
well,
question.
Hellebuck is no discussion there as the
Yeah.
Hart Trophy winner from 2025. But I mean, this team is as deep as they come.
I think the conversation is this the best US team that they've ever put out in any tournament? And comparing it to like a team from, 96 World Cup, yeah, I would say talent-wise, yes. Now, are they going to be the best team? And I think that's probably the discussion of why certain guys were left off. Like we should get into snubs, like a Jason Robertson,
How is he not there?
A Cole Caulfield, right? And I think it's like kind of balancing it with the talent and finding ways to have the best team, right? Because Sure, you want all the best players on your roster, right? You want a Cole Caulfield here. You want a Jason Robertson here. But at certain points, you have to look for the chemistry and who fits best, what pieces fit best with who, right? And at least for Cole Caulfield, I just didn't think there was a spot on this roster for him. Jason Robertson's a different story. He definitely should be here. He's got the size to be here. Sure, his skating's not the best, but I mean,
The rinks are smaller than NHL
yeah,
size.
like
So
he should be here over a JT Miller. No offense to JT Miller because he was with the Four Nations team, and I think that was probably a big thing with Bill Guerin is that he didn't want to break up as much of that group as he could, and at least we got Tage Thompson here, deserved to be here. Clayton
yeah.
Kelly deserved to be here. Those two had amazing world championships last year, and they've gotten off to good seasons this year. So we did want Jason Robertson here, but from a roster building standpoint, it probably couldn't find. He probably would have been an extra, and I would have been fine if he was an extra. But it's going to be interesting to see who's the other scratch because I think Vincent Trocheck is a scratch, and the question is who's the second scratch?
It's anybody's guess. Like
Yeah,
I don't think they bring a Brock Nelson type to sit on the sidelines, although I think
and he's been amazing this year.
that's right. Like, do I think he's the probably the 14th most talented forward here? But you don't bring that guy unless you want him to be your bottom six sort
Yeah.
of leader and fight for pucks, and he can play as a center. Like I don't know who they scratch. Like I could like you said who's the second one. I don't even know who the first one is. Like honestly,
It's Trocheck. Trocheck's definitely the first one,
I
just
mean,
because they have the center depth, right? Like you have Dylan Larkin as your third C, and then you got or Brock Nelson. One of those two is going to be the third, and then the
I
other
would
is going to be the fourth line center. That's like
I would say Nelson you put on the fourth line and keep Larkin in three.
yeah. So like, where's Vincent Trocheck going to play? He's going to be the
Where's
extra
JT
center.
Miller going to play then? It
I
could be
think.
both Rangers,
Well, if it's both Rangers,
and Mike Sullivan's the coach.
I'd be fine with it, but I just feel like they're gonna put JT Miller on like that fourth line to bring that because he's looked like he's. I don't want to curse, but he's looked like shit this year. Like he looks
It's
like
our show.
he looks so disinterested in playing hockey. But I feel like with the U.S. putting out, see, and that's
Also,
what,
can I just this is separate.
yeah,
I do not like personally, and I know it's not really a conflict of interest because they do the job the right way. I do not like that NHL coaches are interrupting their own seasons to also coach Team USA, Team Canada, and be the general managers. Like I don't think that makes sense. I think it's stupid.
who else would be who else would be coaching?
Well, I don't know, but Herb Brooks was not coaching an NHL team actively in 1980.
Hey, he
You
was
know
a
what I mean?
college coach.
He was a college coach. He got a college
Yeah,
coach.
but they got their own seasons right now.
I'm just saying, Mike Krzyzewski used to coach the USA basketball team
That
before
was
it
in the
was
summer.
that it wasn't like I understand it either way it disrupts the season.
Obviously, yeah.
I don't think I think it's silly for NHL GMs and NHL coaches to but look, it's not like in soccer where coaching a national team is kind of a full-time gig where you
Yeah.
get parts of your season interrupted specifically so international soccer is played. So I guess that's why they do this is because there's no other way, but I just think it's weird that Mike Sullivan will have been coaching the Rangers all season long and also at the same time thinking about what his roster would look like for Team
Yeah.
USA.
And
And
that
Bill Guerin's doing the same thing, trying to put together a
yeah.
Minnesota Wild team and a Team USA. I just think it's weird.
No, and I
There's enough hockey coaches that are good enough to be to not have to do two things at once.
no, and I get it. And at least for the US it would be a bit easier where you could be like go take the U18 coach for the national team program and do it. But like I don't think any other teams really have that. Other than the European coaches I think are the national team coaches. I don't think they coach anything else for the most part.
Well, they have
They have more
more
things. Yeah,
games.
they have international breaks out there. So I think
Yeah,
they have their own. So it's I
they
think
go
this is
soccer
like
style.
I think this is a US and a Canada problem that we're kind of dealing with. So
Specifically, it is specifically a U.S. and Canada problem. I think it's silly, but that is the way it is.
yeah.
So if we went through each of the groups, we have Canada winning Group A. either Sweden or Finland winning Group B. I say Sweden, you say Finland. USA will win Group C. I think those are your top four finishers either way, because you have Canada and US as guaranteed group winners. Finland and Sweden, maybe they take points off of one another, and that leaves room for a Switzerland to sneak in as the best second place team, and they get the quarterfinal bye. But on paper, let's say Canada, Sweden, USA, and Finland get the buys into the quarterfinals. In the
Well,
playoffs,
well, let's do our own. Let's do our own top four.
okay, fine.
Is that your own top four? Is that
That's
your
my
top
top
four?
four. Yeah.
I think I'm gonna be different, right? And I just don't see two teams coming out of Group B because I think they're all going to be battling for points. I think multiple games going to overtime, especially like with Slovakia and how they kind of play internationally. And then Group A is like any team can win second place in there. Like I could see it. There's an avenue where Canada could finish second place, right? Where
No way.
where where a team like Switzerland steals points off of them, right? It's all about stealing points off of a team and then winning the other two, right? So
Yeah,
like,
I don't buy it. I don't buy it though.
so let's just say that, right? I think Canada wins Group A. I think Group B goes to Finland, and I think the U.S. wins Group C. For my best second place finish, right? It's about as many points as you can get in those three games for second place. I think Germany. I think Germany could have the most points out of any second place team. So that's going to be my fourth team that goes to the quarters.
Well, let's remember 3-2-1 point scoring as well in the
Exactly.
IIHF system. So if Canada, I think Canada wins 3 games in regulation. I think they finish on 9 points.
Yep.
Switzerland will take care of France in regulation. Czechia will take care of France in regulation. Sorry to France, I think they're going to end up with 0 points. The game between Czechia and Switzerland, if that goes to OT, whoever wins that one finishes on 5 points. The loser finishes on four, and
Yep.
that could be enough to squeeze in. So I'll say Switzerland beats Czechia in overtime. So Canada first on 9, Switzerland second on 5, Czechia third on fourth, and France in fourth with 0. In Group B, I think Sweden, I'm going to give them 8 points. I say they beat Slovakia and Italy in regulation. They beat Finland in the shootout or overtime. I
Hmm.
think Finland takes care of Italy. Maybe they go to OT against Slovakia and they win it, and then they go to OT and lose against Sweden. So that's 6 points. So right now they would be the best second place finisher. Sweden would be in first on 8. And then Group C, I think the US 9 points. Germany, I think like Germany could see overtime against both Denmark and Latvia. I think maybe they'll take care of Denmark. They go to OT against Latvia. They finish on 5 points. Denmark, maybe they win in overtime against Latvia. So they get 2 points. Latvia gets 1 point for an overtime loss against Denmark and 1 point for an overtime loss against Germany. So they end up on 2 points too. That's how Finland squeeze into second and Sweden squeeze into first. So that would be my top four. And then for the knockouts, I mean, I don't have it all mapped out, but for the playoff games, you could have a Czechia versus a Slovakia, which is obviously a rivalry. You'd
Yeah.
have Switzerland potentially versus a Germany, which could be a rivalry. You have Denmark versus France. You have Latvia versus Italy. I don't think that would all shape out with the way the points have gone, but
Yeah.
there's a great opportunity for some great matchups in the knockout. And then I think in the quarterfinal round, I think the best 8 teams remaining would be Switzerland, Germany, Czechia, Slovakia. And I think those are your 4 teams that move on to face the US, Canada, Finland, and Sweden.
Well, I mean, I'll say this. I like how they kind of set it up where, group
No,
play
it's a
is
great
all about,
system.
is all about seeding, and then, the top 14s go through automatically. The other eight have to fight to get to the quarters. And then we come down to it, man. Knockout style hockey. Basically every game is game 7. Win or go home. Who's gonna be able to power through it? And NHL players being back, we haven't had this feeling since 2014 and 2010. Like 2010 was the last time the U.S. made a gold medal game. So we all think that they have the potential to go and win it. So it's going to be a fun Olympics. Was it 2 weeks? How long is the tournament overall?
I believe it's February the 11th to February the 22nd, so it's a little under 2 weeks.
Yeah,
That could be
so
wrong.
it's going to be a fun 2 weeks. Whatever it is, it's going to be a really fun 2 weeks. I mean, I think I'm going to watch as many games as possible.
I'm gonna try. Yeah.
Like I've already watched the women's game against Czechia where they won 5-1. That was a really good game. Um, Love me some Hillary Knight. What a player
Baller.
she is. What a player. I hope they can send her out with a gold medal as well. Just let's think about this for a sec, right? The women for the U.S. are the favorite in their tournament. The U.S. over here in the men's could arguably be the favorite, but Canada is the favorite, right? Imagine the U.S. go double gold in hockey. I mean, just think about what that does for this program, right? We've already seen it at a junior level where the U.S. has won two World Juniors before this year. This year, the women won the U18 gold medal as well. They at the junior level, the U.S. has arguably caught up to Canada. So if they're able to go to the national team level and bring that success, I I would be over the moon, and I think that would mean so much to the program and what they've done out in Plymouth, Michigan, where they have the national team program for both sets of age groups for men and women. So I'm very excited. I'm very excited to see what this Olympics does. But did you want to do our gold medal games and bronze medal game?
Well, if the points work out, the way I had it
Okay.
was USA and Canada both finish on 9 points
We'll just go with
for the
yours. We'll just
groups.
go with yours for now.
Well, just because
No, yeah, yeah.
the way I'm
No,
envisioning it,
no, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Let's go based off of yours.
that would leave them as painted on opposite sides of the bracket.
Yep.
And if the teams that I believe will finish in the top four in the groups, which were the same four teams from the four nations, they are the
Based
best.
on odds, that's probably how it's going to line up
They're the
anyway.
best
So,
four countries in this tournament because
yep,
Russia isn't there.
yep.
Russia would probably knock one of Finland or Sweden out of that top four.
Oh, man.
And that'd be a discussion as to who they'd knock out. And it's unfortunate. Like, think about it. If Russia were here, that means one of those five teams, excuse me, is guaranteed to have to play a playoff, have to play an extra game.
Yeah,
And they could end up getting like a Latvia or a Switzerland in that playoff. And that's a tough game that they have
yeah,
to play an extra one to just for the right to play against a US or Canada. So that would be very, very unlucky for whatever team that is. But assuming that those four teams have the bye into the quarterfinals, they
yep.
should be the favorite to go to the semifinal. It would the way I have it, it would have U.S. Finland in one semifinal and Canada Sweden in the opposite one. I think that it seems like a foregone conclusion, but it isn't always. 2014 proved as much.
Yeah.
I believe that would set up a U.S. Canada gold medal game
Well,
and a
let's
Finland
go.
Sweden semifinal
Do you
bronze
ha
medal game.
do you have what the knockout games look like?
Like I'm trying like if I'd have to do a lot of quick mental math, but if if the first place team from the group stage is Canada, second
Yep,
place team is US, third
yep.
is Sweden, and four is Finland. That would leave five as I believe Germany I had on 5 points. I had Switzerland on 5 points. They could be six. Seven would be Slovakia.
Hmm.
Eight would be Czechia. Nine would be Latvia. 10 would be Denmark, 11 France, 12 Italy. So that would be Italy versus Germany 5. 6 would be Switzerland versus Denmark 11.
Hmm.
10 would be, did I say Latvia versus, no, sorry, France 11 versus Switzerland 6.
Yep.
10 Denmark versus Latvia versus Slovakia 7. No, versus Czechia 7. And then 8 Slovakia versus 9 Latvia. Um, I think you'd get Switzerland, Germany, Czechia, and Slovakia
Okay.
would advance. And then that would mean for the quarterfinals, you get Canada, the one seed,
Yep.
versus number 8, Czechia.
Okay. That's
US,
gonna
the
be.
two seed, versus number 7, Slovakia.
We'll get through that.
Swinland, the 3 seed, versus number 6, Switzerland. And number 4, 3 Sweden, 6 Switzerland, 4 Finland against 5 Germany.
Um, I'm not gonna lie, man. That Czechia game for Canada could be interesting.
Yeah,
I think that would go to overtime.
it's a trap game.
Who was 2 versus 7? It was U.S.
USA,
Slovakia,
Slovakia.
and then Sweden, Swiss.
Yes.
Who
And
would
then Finland,
if
Germany.
if Swiss beat Sweden, who would they play?
So Sweden would be the 3. They would play the winner of Sweden, Switzerland would play the winner of USA, Slovakia.
Okay, so I will go in that setup, right? I will go USA, Switzerland, and
Mm.
Canada, Finland in
See,
my
I would love to
four.
see Switzerland go on a run just because of all the Devils influence they have. I can't see them beating Sweden in a knockout game like that.
They have so much experience the past 2 years where they've gotten to the gold medal game of the Worlds
This is true.
and lost. So I think them coming here with all that experience, I think they can get to I think they could get to the medal game. So all right, so you want to go who wins gold, silver, bronze, and fourth?
So assuming that we'll go with Switzerland over Sweden in the semis, assuming that
Well, you
happens.
can pick your own.
Well, we could put
I'm picking my own right now, so you can pick your own based on that,
fair
right?
enough. Fair enough. So my final four, it would be the same as the four nations. You'd have Canada 1 versus Finland 4,
Okay.
USA 2 versus Sweden 3. I
Mhm.
think you get USA Canada in the gold medal game. I've been glazing Canada this whole episode. I think they win the gold medal. I just do. I think they're going to do it. And then if in the bronze medal game you get a great rivalry in Finland Sweden, I had Sweden winning in the groups, so I'll have Finland winning that time around. And if it's against Switzerland, I'm going to take Finland as well.
Okay.
Um, Although I think without Barkov, their big game ability does suffer quite a bit.
Yeah.
They're still a great team on paper, but maybe that's where the experience for say a Switzerland comes in against the Finland type, and really could do some damage and be a real underdog. So that's how I see it shake out. I feel like you might be a little bit more optimistic towards the U.S. than I am.
Yeah, so based on how we have these knockouts and the quarterfinals, and what I've gone with is I think the US does it. I think they get the gold. I think them losing in the Four Nations with this group was actually massive for them, and that they don't come into this tournament overconfident or overzealous about, yeah, we are better than Canada. They've now experienced losing to Canada at the national team, the senior national team level, and they will take that as fuel heading into this. And I think they'll get over the hump. I think they win gold. Canada wins silver. And then in the bronze medal game, Switzerland versus Finland. I think all of Switzerland's experience the past couple of years where they've gotten to golds in the worlds and come up short. I think they do get a bronze based on how we've set it up. So my gold medal, USA, silver medal, Canada, bronze medal, Switzerland, and fourth place, Finland.
And you know what? We talked about what the crowds might look like. I mean, the rink was barely
They got it.
up to
They
size. They
finally
got
got
it
it.
in time. But Switzerland borders Italy, and they could have great support in this tournament, and I imagine they will. So, I mean that's a pretty comprehensive look at the Olympics. That's our big preview there. Any final thoughts you want to get out before the tournament starts at the end of this week?
Yeah, I'm over the moon to be at this point in the season. Put the NHL away. We don't need to see that for a month. Get it out of here. I don't want to see Devils hockey for the rest of February. But I'm glad the NHL's back. I remember in 2022 still kind of on the end of COVID for these teams, whatever teams that they sent, and I was invested in the U.S. even though it was college AHL players. Like they still had some good players in that tournament. So now that NHL is back, best on best. I think that's all we've asked for since it's gone away. Is we want best on best back, and it we finally had that little taste of it in the Four Nations, And sure, it might have not been a real tournament, but it felt real to most people. So now coming into the Olympics of all stages, the biggest of biggest in the world for hockey, um, it's gonna be fun. And with the U.S. having the opportunity to actually win gold, because I feel like in 2010 you're like, yeah, they could win it, but like Canada's got superstar on top of superstar on top of superstar, and the U.S. was the plucky underdog that almost pulled it off. This year, you can arguably say that the U.S. is the favorite, and them in a gold medal game with Canada would be icing on top for what this can do for hockey as a whole on international market here at home domestically, for fans just over like casual fans watching USA Canada and in the Olympic gold medal game would be huge for the NHL. So I'm glad we're finally here and we're just a couple of days away from the tournament starting. So I'm very interested. I'm very excited.
U.S. haven't been to the gold medal game since 2010. Previously, were in the gold medal game in 2002 and haven't won the gold since they were last in the gold medal round before then in 1980, the famous Miracle on Ice. We'll see what they can do in 2026. They're a favorite to get to that gold medal game, but will they win it?
Yeah.
Canada might be in the way. For Dan Rebane, I've been James Burley. This has been Puck on the Parkway's preview of the 2026 men's hockey at the Olympics. Can't wait for that to start. And it'll be good to get away from some Devils hockey, as you said, Dan. So thank you, everybody, for listening and watching. We'll see you next time, and enjoy this break from Devils hockey. We know we will. Take care.